This video is sponsored by iZotope. Stay tuned for more information. So, are you still on Reason? No, why? Well, it's time to review LMMS. I'm just kidding. It's time to review Ableton 11. Oh, thank God. What's going on today, guys? Weaver Beats here, and today I'll be reviewing Ableton Live 11 Suite. They added track comping, MPE compatibility, new devices, a new reverb, some updated devices, and sounds. I'll go through today and break down my thoughts on basically everything about this, as well as some ways they could improve it, and some things they might have missed out. With the new track comping feature, Ableton stores all your takes, even if you record over it. So you can open the takes lane and choose and splice segments for different takes all together to make one super take. It makes recording instruments and even MIDI much easier. You can't do it with automation, but I think that's kind of a blessing because that would get extremely complicated. Gotta turn this into an Excel spreadsheet pretty quickly. Not like a simple one either, like a really bad one. Now we're gonna talk about MPE compatibility, aka MIDI polyphonic expression. Ableton 11 is now a fully functioning MPE DAW, meaning basically every instrument has MPE compatibility. And they even added a nifty little expression view allowing you to manually edit expressions between notes. So now we can draw cool little squiggly lines for each note. I love it. Still need an MPE controller though. Well, I mean if I want to play it manually. But they're fucking $1,000. Ha, you broke piece of shit. Hold on, have you heard of iZotope Plus? Steven, I'm gonna strangle you. It's not iZotope Plus, it's the iZotope Producers Club, as well as the iZotope Music Production Suite Pro. They're two different monthly options you can get from iZotope. With the Producers Club, you get Ozone, Nectar, Neutron, Vocal Synth, the Visual Mixer, Relay, as well as eventually Neoverb, for the low monthly cost of $20. With the Music Production Suite Pro, you get Ozone, Nectar, Neutron, RX8, the Visual Mixer, Relay, as well as eventually Neoverb and Insight for the low monthly cost of $25. That's actually not that bad of a deal. Does it come with anything else? That's surprisingly helpful for once, Steven. It also comes with Melodyne 5 Essential. You can access lessons from Berkeley, as well as Reed Stefan. You guys know Reed Stefan, right? Realest puppet in the game? Yeah, good friend of mine. Cool channel, cool puppet. Please keep in mind that it's an optional monthly subscription. You can still buy their products as well if you wanted to. Check out the 7-day trial down in the description. Huge shout out to iZotope for sponsoring this video. I've been using their products for years, especially for mixing and mastering, so it's very surreal to have them sponsor a video of mine. Alright, now we're going to talk about some of the new devices. Let's get started with the hybrid reverb. So the hybrid reverb combines the algorithm reverb along with a convolution reverb, making it really fucking complicated, but it does sound really nice. It's just really fucking complicated. You know what this reminds me of? No, not that. Yeah, that. I actually really love this thing. It basically would replace the normal reverb in here for me if it weren't for the fact that it's like operating a spaceship. I just wish I knew what some of these dang old knobs do. What is decay? Dry/wet? The reason why this reverb is much more difficult to operate is also the reason why it's much better than the regular reverb. You have a lot more options and a lot more different sounds you can get out of the reverb. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the spectral resonator. So I have this sample here I made, a melody. It's alright, but let's throw the spectral resonator on it, see how that sounds. Shift it down an octave. We can actually have the MIDI change the notes that it plays. So we can really like flip something. Let's say we have a sample and we're trying to flip it for like a beat battle. Tells a beat competition. Yeah, we want to change how it sounds a lot. So I'm definitely a big fan of this device. It's a very interesting way for you to flip some sort of audio. All right, let's check out spectral time. So this is pretty good for making some like really alien sounds. So in my opinion, this one's not as cool as the spectral resonator, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless. So essentially it transforms audio signal into partials, meaning little segments, and it feeds it through a frequency-based delay, causing a lot of weird sounding metallic effects, very glitchy and washed out sounding. Only like 50% stole that from their website. Can't say I'm displeased with this one. Definitely a bigger fan of spectral resonator though. Seems a little more creative. due to the MIDI input. All right, now we're gonna talk about Pitch Loop 89, which is honestly, on paper, it sounds kind of similar to these other things, but it's a little bit different. Now, this device seems like it's a little more suited for drums or something of the sort. This one would be really good for creating glitchy, stuttery type of effects. So we're gonna try that real quick. We're gonna get a drum loop, and we're gonna put it on there. Honestly, this looks harder to set than the fucking reverb. So, yeah. I'm starting to rethink this one. I'm starting to not like this device that much. Yeah, I can't honestly describe what the fuck is happening with this device, but it's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't really hit me the same way as the spectral ones do. Like, operating this thing makes you just want to go back to operating the reverb. This would definitely be useful for creating glitchy drums, maybe something like Apex. Apex? Holy shit. I deserve to go to hell for that. Like Aphex Twin or Square Pusher. We all know them. One thing I did not like about this is the way you control the stereo knob by linking it and then controlling the left side, whereas the right side is still independent. I guess it's so you can quickly create a difference between the left and right side, but I don't know. To me, it just kept getting in the way. I kept forgetting that that's how this device works, because no other device works that way. But I did get used to it. Who am I kidding? I didn't get used to it. Of course you didn't, you broke piece of shit. Oh yeah, one more thing. What? You're broke, dude. Alright, now we're gonna check out some things that are inspired by nature. These new devices. They're called Inspired by Nature. This is by far one of the weirdest things to come with Ableton. For instance, when I first opened it, this is what I opened. So yeah, I wasn't really sure what to make of this one at first. But I have some clever ideas to make this one more interesting. If you incorporate some modulation somehow on this, then you might have something here. You can make some really weird stuff with this. Now, another cool thing in here is the Vector FM and Vector Grain modules. Pretty crazy shit, right? So I would say they actually added some pretty interesting stuff with Ableton. Definitely nothing like any of the other devices. Can't say there's anything like Operator. Alright, so my thoughts on some of these are going to be kind of fucking shitty, if I'm being honest. Like, what thoughts can I give you on the updates on the chorus? Not much. So I'm going to kind of breeze through this part, I think, a little bit. I honestly don't remember what the old chorus was like, but I guess this one's an improvement. I don't know what the fuck to say. They added a few new features. They say it's more lush. I honestly can't fucking tell, can you? Now this one I'm actually a little bit excited about. Yes, they improved the bit reduction tool. It's no longer just 2 knobs and a button. Now it's like 4 knobs and a button. But that makes a much bigger difference because you can get a lot subtler as well as drastic with these tools now. Phaser, flanger, honestly I don't fucking care. So they made a few improvements to the racks. They now allow you to have macro variations, as well as change the amount of knobs for macros. So you can have up to 100. I don't think you can have 100, but you can have a lot more than just 6 or whatever it was before. Live tempo following. Essentially you can have audio coming in through your interface and follow the tempo, making it a lot easier to play with real bands or whatever you want. They also added some nifty little probability features, including note chance as well as velocity chance. Velocity chance is pretty cool because it can make your performance a lot more human. Alright, now we're going to talk about some of the new sounds. Again, these come from the packs, so download your packs, guys. Make space. Delete your other DAWs. Alright, so now we're going to talk about some new sounds, starting off with the voice box. It's a little bit similar to Omnisphere, but it has its own tone, just like Ableton's devices always do. And this one's a little more creative in my opinion than Omnisphere, at least in terms of the presets they've given you to work with. Alright, now we're going to talk about the Mood Reel. Now this is one of the crown jewels of Ableton 11. There are some very interesting, moody, aesthetic sounds in here. They are pretty dope. I really like the dueling guitars. I also like the Heavenly Pluck. Both of them I found very inspiring. I think I wrote a beat or 2 with them already. Alright, now Drone Lab. It's a bunch of drone sounds. So if you're into shoegaze or making ambient, this could be up your alley. But honestly, to me, they just sounded like decent drone sounds. They were decent at best, and at worst, they were unusable. It's also 8 gigs too, so maybe they could have trimmed this down a little bit. I don't know. Now we're gonna talk about the upright piano. I don't know what an upright piano sounds like compared to a normal piano, so I'm not gonna qualify that part about it, but it sounds like just an okay piano to me. It's like a very starter piano sound. Not something like very processed, not something already ready to be set into a good mix. Now unless you're going for like something really flat sounding. Now we're gonna talk about the string quartet and brass quartet, both by Spitfire Labs. So it sounds a bit sterile to me. I'm just joking. That's if you go to the instrument section in Ableton, there is a preset called string quartet. That's not what you want to use. You want to use the ones from the pack section, because that'll take up a lot more space, meaning hopefully there are better samples in it, which there was. I really like the MPE spectral patches. I found it very lush sounding and very expressive. I would say it's very Omnisphere-esque as well. A lot of these would give me that sort of vibe. I'd literally murder a person and bury their body out in the middle of nowhere just for a stock auto-tune device. That's good. But maybe I'm asking for a lot because we still don't really have that good of a tuner yet, which is also another thing that I would like to see improved. Let's make the tuner actually usable for more things other than just guitars. Let's also improve the limiter. Let's also make it a maximizer. I mean, FL's got sound goodizer. Alright, now the real problem here. There's no dancing anime girl or boy, or gender neutral being. No judgments here. Either way, we don't have it. And lastly, a note randomization feature. Not a probability tool, but the ability to randomize notes. I think Reason has this. Maybe this exists already. I don't know if it does. Let me know down in the comments. I've also heard of possible CPU stability problems, just like word of mouth on Twitter, mostly for Mac OS users, but I haven't had any problems on my Windows computer. My Mac is a complete piece of shit and it's over 10 years old now, so I couldn't really test that. Because that one would probably crash anyways, so it's not fair. I feel like if anything, I've been getting less crashes with Ableton 11 on my PC than I was before this. I don't really have an accurate measurement for that. I'm not keeping like a journal or something. There's a trial down in the description if you guys want to check it out. I give Ableton Live 11 a 8 out of 10. Again, shout out to today's sponsor, iZotope. Make sure to check out the iZotope Producers Club down in the description. Make sure to check out my Discord, Patreon, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Have a good day, guys.
The Band Incorporated.